More than 80 killed, at least 50 injured, dozens of children. After a truck full of grenades and weapons plows into a crowd of thousands watching fireworks by the sea.
There you can see blood and bodies everywhere.
Among the victims, 2 Americans, a father and son vacationing from Texas.
France still reeling from the Paris ISIS attacks, now gripped again by fear. The state of emergency extended. President Obama offering assistance as security ramps up here ahead of the conventions. Donald Trump postponing his VP announcement as both candidates blast the horrific massacre. The latest on the investigation and the search for answers. Our special coverage starts now.
Live in Times Square, this is Good Morning America.
And Good Morning America, it has happened again. The joy of normal life becomes a nightmare in seconds. That was the scene in Nice, France last night. Those thousands had gathered to celebrate France's national holiday. Just after the fireworks, some shots rang out. Then this truck mows down crowds, stretched out for more than a mile. That was it right there. You saw the people running, you saw the horror, leaving a trail of unspeakable carnage.
The images are horrific. Here is what we know right now. The suspect was shot and killed on the scene. Officials are now searching for accomplices. At least 84 people were killed, including 2 Americans, and at least 50 others were injured. France's state of emergency now extended 3 months. It was supposed to end on July 26th. This is the 5th terrorist attack in France since January of 2015.
State of emergency continues there. We have team coverage here and overseas, starting with ABC's Alex Marquardt on the scene in Nice. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, George. This attacker could not have struck at a happier or busier time. This is where it happened. You can see this entire waterfront has been shut down. This is called La Promenade des Anglais. The beaches have also been closed today as France tries to come to terms with this latest horror. At 10:30 p.m. local time, as thousands took to these famous streets to take in a joyous fireworks celebration commemorating France's national holiday, a white truck emerged. This video capturing it moving slowly at first, then quickly accelerating, aiming directly into the densely packed crowd, killing and maiming scores of men, women, and children. Screams of panic and terror echoing throughout this popular coastal city.
You can see blood and bodies everywhere.
The truck driving a little over a mile, mowing down dozens like a bowling ball, a witness said, as hundreds of others ran, trying to escape.
They were all screaming and everyone was running in every direction. Seconds later, this giant white van came bolting down this road and was just taking out people left, right and center. At this point, we began to run because everyone was frantically running because we had no idea what was actually happening.
Panic spreading throughout the crowd as hundreds grabbed loved ones and ran, some people jumping into the sea to escape.
We were just turning down alleys and kind of looking for somewhere that might be safe. We just assumed there were fireworks still going off, but then really shortly after that, I saw people running, and we didn't at this point have any idea what we were running from.
Security on the scene fired at the truck, riddling its cab and windshield with bullets, finally stopping the bloody rampage and killing the gunman. Law enforcement on the scene described the truck as full of weapons and grenades. France's president, François Hollande, telling his country the horror has once again hit and that France is under the threat of Islamic extremism. Among the at least 84 dead were 2 Americans, Sean Copeland and his 11-year-old son, Brody. The 2 Austin, Texas residents were in Europe on a family vacation, which began in Spain. A family member put out a statement saying, "Losing a loved one is hard no matter the circumstances, but losing a loved one in such a tragic and unexpected way is unbearable." A lawmaker for this region told French radio that there was someone on the street who actually jumped onto the truck to try to stop it. And that was the moment that the police were able to shoot and kill the driver. And George, just a short time ago, the State Department did confirm the deaths of that American father and son. They have offered their help and condolences. George?
We offer those condolences as well. Thank you, Alex. Brody Copeland's baseball team posted this photo on Facebook. They showed Brody in the French Riviera, and they asked for prayers for the Copeland family. We are joined now by another American who is on the scene, Inga Romanoff. She is in Nice this morning. Inga, thank you for joining us. I know you were on that promenade when this all broke out. Tell us what happened.
Thank you for having me. I was right on the promenade, on the side where the truck was actually going through the crowd at the moment when it was happening.
And how far away were you when it started to come through the crowd? What kind of notice did you have? What kind of alert?
It happened very quickly. It was literally split seconds. We just heard the gunshots, the first gunshots, and I started running. I looked back and I saw the truck going through the people right in the place where I was standing. Just seconds.
So it was coming right towards you. About how fast was it going?
He was actually accelerating, I think, or at least it seemed that way. He was definitely going over 60 miles an hour. It seemed very fast.
And you actually had to jump out of the way?
I don't think people had any time to jump out of the way. It was a very large crowd. It was right after the fireworks. Everybody was still there, and there was not enough space to even give each other way to run out of the way from the truck. I think some people probably could do that if they were on the fringe, but I don't think anyone had much time to run away. If you were further down on the promenade where I was, maybe because we heard the gunshots, so we had a little bit more notice, but the people that were in the beginning of the promenade had no chance.
So at the beginning of the promenade, you're just talking about an avenue where people are 10, 20 across, completely packed in?
You broke up for a second. Would you mind repeating
I was just saying that the scene on the promenade, especially there at the beginning, this is 10, 20 people across, very densely packed. They had no chance, no way to get out of the way?
Actually, I cannot hear you right now, not at this moment.
I'm gonna try one more time, Inga. Let me try.
The question.
The question is, how densely packed were these people at the top of the promenade?
You were asking me how many people were around me?
Yes, just try to describe the scene.
Let me tell you, within split seconds of hearing the gunshots, I started running, and the entire place seemed like a complete chaos. People were running in different directions. There were people all the way around me. There were so many of us that I'll tell you, I'm running, and there was a lady right next to me. She probably stumbled and fell on the ground, and nobody was even helping her. People just kept running. People kept running over her, and I was trying to pick her up so she could also run. It was complete chaos all the way around, and I don't think people knew in which direction to run. It was not quite clear where it was safe. I think not, maybe everyone saw the truck, I don't know, but it was a little bit disorienting.
I can only imagine how disorienting it was. How did you finally know you were safe? Where did you end up?
I can't. I think, first of all, when I was on the other side of the road, as soon as I heard the gunshots, I ran across, away from the crowd. I felt safer, but I was still looking around trying to understand where the gunshots came from, because I saw the truck pass by, but I wasn't sure that the attack was over. To me, it was immediately apparent that it was an attack. It wasn't some sort of an accident. And I actually stayed right next to the scene. I was in a hotel where I could see the entire scene from, and I just ran to the hotel. As soon as I was in the hotel, I felt safe.
We're glad you're safe this morning. Inga, thank you for sharing your story with us.
And now, of course, the focus now on the investigation. We know that French investigators desperately trying to determine who was behind this attack and whether ISIS was involved or not. French President Hollande saying France as a whole is threatened by Islamist terrorism. And ABC's chief investigative correspondent Brian Ross is here with the very latest. So, Brian, what can you tell us about the suspect and who may have been behind this?
Well, good morning, Amy. As of this hour, there's been no claim of responsibility for what happened in Nice, but online followers of ISIS have been celebrating the deadly attack. French media this morning are identifying the suspect as a 31-year-old French-Tunisian whose apartment is being searched at this hour. U.S. officials this morning say ISIS is certainly the leading candidate, given their huge ranks of French recruits and repeated calls for just such a vehicle attack. French recruits are estimated to be some 1,700 French citizens believed to have gone to Iraq and Syria to join terror networks, mostly ISIS. Many have been killed and others have returned to France. With sheer numbers so large, French authorities have been unable to keep an eye on so many suspects. And again, ISIS has sent messages to its followers about using vehicles to attack. Quote, according to one spokesman, if you're not able to find an IED or a bullet, then single out the disbelieving American, Frenchman, or any of their allies, smash his head with a rock, or slaughter him with a knife, or run him over with your car, and on and on. Simple, unsophisticated weapons, but very deadly. And unfortunately, very effective. You heard the directive there. Americans, Frenchmen. So what are the implications back here in the United States? Well, they're huge in a way. Clearly, the U.S. is a top priority target for ISIS, which has offered its American recruits similar encouragements. What counterterror officials are looking at this morning closely is the tempo of the attacks in the West. It was just 2 weeks ago that an ISIS-directed attack was carried out at the airport in Istanbul, Turkey. And 2 weeks before that, it was the ISIS-inspired attack at the nightclub in Orlando, Florida. So far, more than 400 people have now been killed by ISIS attacks on Western targets, not including Nice, and of course, thousands more in Syria and Iraq slaughtered by ISIS, Amy. All right, Brian, thank you.
Okay, let's take this now to the White House. John Karl is there, our chief White House correspondent. Of course, John Karl, as soon as this happened, President Obama briefed, has been working so closely with France on this.
He was briefed almost immediately after the attack and directed the White House to offer any assistance to French authorities with that investigation. The president later issued a statement saying, quote, "On behalf of the American people, I condemn in the strongest terms what appears to be a horrific terrorist attack in Nice, France. We stand in solidarity and partnership with France, our oldest ally, as they respond to and recover from this attack." Secretary of State John Kerry was actually in Paris just hours before the attack, attending a Bastille Day parade with French authorities. He has directed the State Department to try to account for all Americans in Nice, urging them to contact the consulate and, of course, to directly reach out to their families and friends.
Okay, John Karl, thanks very much.
All right, let's turn now to ABC News Chief Global Affairs Correspondent Martha Raddatz, who has the very latest on the war on terror and where things stand in the fight specifically against ISIS. Good morning, Martha. What can you tell us?
Good morning, Amy. As you know, the U.S. and coalition have been pounding Syria, pounding Iraq. We're about to send more than 500 more troops into Iraq to try to retake Mosul. The Iraqis have retaken Fallujah. They've retaken Ramadi. But it seems as they squeeze the ISIS fighters in Iraq, in Syria, these attacks go beyond the border, and that's the real problem here. They have to keep up with the intelligence. They have to find out who's returning to France, who's returning to these other countries, and there's a real strain on law enforcement and intelligence. Amy?
All right, Martha Raddatz with the latest. Thank you.
And of course, Amy, those deadly attacks overseas are raising big questions about safety and soft targets here at home, as Brian suggested. ABC senior justice correspondent Pierre Thomas tracks Homeland Security. And Pierre, concerns here especially high with both political conventions coming up.
Yes, George. Law enforcement has identified no specific threat in connection with those conventions, but I can tell you there's deep concern just because of all the pace that we're seeing. Just yesterday, FBI Director and Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson were expressing their worry about the potential that things could get out of hand, mainly because of groups with polarizing views who may descend on each convention. George, my sources tell me that leading into the conventions, that this is perhaps the most volatile and complicated security picture in recent memory.
And it comes against the backdrop, as we've talked about so many times, Pierre, with these new warnings and alerts from ISIS to all of their followers, just attack whoever you can, wherever you can.
The short answer is that there's real risk. We saw San Bernardino last December, and only about a month ago, as Brian mentioned, the Orlando massacre, when a madman inspired by ISIS killed 49 people and wounded another 53. I can tell you I've been talking to security sources last night and this morning, and they're locked in on what's happening in France, in part because, as we said, we're only days away from the start of those conventions where there will be very large crowds, George.
Pierre Thomas, thanks.
All right, the attack overseas affecting the conventions potentially, as well as the entire race for the White House. Donald Trump set to name his running mate this morning. Sources telling ABC News he's asked Indiana Governor Mike Pence, but now he has postponed that announcement. ABC's Tom Yamas is at Trump Tower with the latest on all of that. Good morning, Tom.
Amy, good morning to you. Campaign sources tell me that Donald Trump will announce this morning that he has rescheduled his joint appearance with his running mate, possibly in a tweet, and this will launch the new team and end what has been a VP selection process like we have never seen. Now, sources maintain to ABC News that Indiana Governor Mike Pence is the pick.
This morning, Donald Trump not ready to show his cards. Republican sources told ABC News Trump offered the job to Indiana Governor Mike Pence, and Pence boarded a plane, flew to New York, thinking he had accepted.
How do you feel?
But as we caught up with Pence at a Manhattan hotel, Trump said this in an interview.
Mike has done a great job as governor of Indiana. You look at the numbers, and it's been a great, he's done really a fantastic job. So, but I haven't made a final decision.
Trump also canceling his big news conference to announce his running mate, citing the tragedy in France.
And out of respect for this horrific situation, I just think it was inappropriate to have the news conference tomorrow.
Though Trump could change his mind, all signs still point to Pence. The first-term governor is a 57-year-old establishment Republican who is a born-again Christian. He served as a member of the U.S. House of Representatives for more than a decade and is a former radio and television talk show host. In apparently selecting Pence, Trump chose someone who is very un-Trump, and there could be a rocky honeymoon ahead.
I do strongly disagree with the call that would ban Muslims from this country. I found it both offensive and unconstitutional.
Pence has had major disagreements with Trump. He supports the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Trump opposes it. And this week, Pence seemed to dodge a direct question if he supports Trump's plan to build a wall along the southern border.
As President Ronald Reagan said, a nation without borders is not a nation.
Pence told me he could still work with Trump, even though he doesn't agree with him on everything.
How do you share that ticket if you have a fundamental disagreement with him on the Muslim ban?
Well, I served in Congress for 12 years. I've been a governor for 3.5 years. I haven't agreed with every one of my Republican colleagues or Democrat colleagues on every issue, but I'm supporting Donald Trump because we need change in this country.
Now, as for the convention, it had been reported by others that Tim Tebow was going to speak at the RNC convention, but Tebow has posted a video on Instagram saying he will not appear at the RNC convention. He also said this: "Let's forget our quarrels and our differences and come together on one nation under God." Amy and George?
Okay, that's the message of Tim Tebow, and I think that Mike Pence likely to be well received by that convention. Now let's go over to Ginger for the weather.
Did you guys see this one? The severe thunderstorm that rolled through New York City. This was in the afternoon hours, and you probably didn't see it from this perspective. That is a time lapse of that storm. Fortunately, not as much damage here, but look at what happened with the severe storms. Almost 300 reports, by the way, stretching across the nation. Little Rock, Arkansas, trees were down into homes and cars. More than 125,000 customers were without power at a point. And that's a problem because it gets hot again today, and then you don't have air conditioning and nowhere to cool off. Today, also, we've got the potential for more strong winds along 70, 35, anywhere here in parts of Kansas and Oklahoma. Your local weather in 30 seconds. First, the weekend getaway, brought to you by PetSmart.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. Pleased to meet you. Hope you get my name. Yeah. But I'm puzzling you with the nature of my game. Mean it. Get down.
At PetSmart, save $5 on select large bags of Nature's Recipe dog food.
Well, happy Friday, everyone. It's not going to be nearly as hot or humid today. We're starting out with some clouds, but some afternoon sunshine, and there's a chance of a shower coming our way during the midday hours. I think best chance is between 1 and 4 p.m. This evening, less humid and feeling nice, 84 to 87 degrees. Know that our heat index will be coming down this weekend, 93 to 96, what it will feel like. Meanwhile, 90 is your high next week. Back to climbing heat and humidity.
And coming up on GMA, we have all the latest on the terror attack in France, more eyewitnesses from the scene. One father reveals what he saw and what he told his children to do moments after the rampage.
And how